Welcome, everybody, to Relay Station. This week we have our Director of European Operations, Shiver Bathory. Hello. I have no idea where you are.
I'm in the UK.
Anyway, and if you've noticed, I'm hosting this week, which is kind of scary. In addition to me, we have Sunjammer, who is part of our fantastic transcription team and also Relay's official photographer. And last, but certainly not least, we have our part-time producer and director of demolitions, Nitro Typat.
That's an awesome title.
Inventor of the Typat.
That's an awesome title. Oh, I gotta get that like written on my t-shirt or something now.
I thought you'd like that one. All right, so this week was a little bit slower than usual, but I want to start us off right away talking about the Tumbril Cyclone, because I'm sure it was talked about last week, but I wasn't here, and there was a lot of interesting stuff this week about the Cyclone. So I'm just going to go around the table. We don't have a table. I'm going to go around the screen. Sunjammer, what did you think of the Cyclone?
It looks pretty cool. Haven't paid much attention to it, but yeah, I like the version with the 360 gun mount. I wasn't so convinced with the missile anti-aircraft ones, but the ones, the sort of anti-personnel ones, the exploring one, they looked quite good. But
and Nitro, what did you think?
I really like it. I like how it's a little bit smaller and sleeker, but still very edgy and like kind of machiney. I don't know. I like the wheels on it. The wheels are really cool.
Don't those wheels look like it'd be incredibly uncomfortable to get run over with that thing?
Oh yeah, especially there's the one concept art where like the wheels are unfolded a little bit and they have like spikes that go around. I can imagine mowing somebody down with that. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, they also mentioned this week, I thought it was kind of cool, you can actually deploy those spikes to give yourself better traction, but it makes you slower.
Oh, okay. I figured that they were like a traction thing, but I didn't know about the slower. Yep. Sweet.
Yep. And Shiver.
Slower compared to what, though? If you're not moving without them.
It goes at
you're on
Ursa
snow
speed.
and just slipping. Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. And Shiver, what did you think of the Cyclone?
It was like a little Star Citizens Junior Humvee. I was tempted, but then I'm like, oh, I've got that Ursa, I've got that Dragonfly. I can't drive them both at the same time. Let alone, oh yeah, and I've got Nox, and I've got that add in a Cyclone as well. And you're like, I can only drive one of these at a time. But I was so tempted.
Wait, you can only drive one vehicle at a time? Come on.
Yeah, sadly.
So how do you explain your collection of ships? You can only fly one of those at a time.
They look pretty.
I myself have been trying to figure that out since I bought my second ship.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe if I get another computer.
And as you can see, we have a bunch of clips of the Cyclone going on below, all the different variants. I do really like the actual stock Cyclone too. I like the cargo unloading and loading animation. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I picked up the cargo one because I didn't really see any need for missiles or a machine gun. Although those are cool.
Need, not necessarily. I do love the one with the machine gun just because it totally reminds me of the Warthog from Halo.
Yeah, when I actually first saw the Cyclone, the way the tires are attached, I was like, is that Halo inspired? Because it totally looks like it.
I'm sure
legally distinct.
I'm sure that given all the people who are working on the game are probably also gamers. I'm sure the Warthog came up a couple times in conversation.
When I was in Austin a couple weeks ago, Tyler Witkin actually has a Warthog sitting on his desk.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Proof positive.
Where does he take it out to make mess?
Out on the balcony. You know, that really big balcony where they had like the cookout and stuff. Yeah. There's like a little corner.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I did. I was also a little stunned at the fact that the anti-aircraft one also has an EMP I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, I might have missed that. I don't remember that.
What kind of did they go into any more detail? Like, is this a targeted effect, or is this an area of effect thing? Because if it's an if it's an AA variant and it's area of effect, that's either going to be a huge radius EMP, or you're relying on a very low flying craft.
I'm not sure if it's actually even aimed at, because it was. I think it was to give it other uses. Like, it also has a smoke screen, and it has chaff and flares. I think it's just sort of to give it other uses beyond just AA. I think that the EMP would probably be used on either ground troops or other ground vehicles. I doubt they could hit could actually stun somebody unless they were flying really low over them. Although that would be really funny to watch. Can you imagine? You're trying to low buzz over this cyclone, and all of a sudden you're just tumbling into the ground.
Well, you could also have the higher ground if someone does a canyon run.
Mm-hmm. This is true. Just
line them up along the sides, wait for a large target to come in, EMP it, abseil down, help yourself to the goods, ransom them off.
So here's a question.
Just a suggestion.
Here's a question. Do you guys think they managed to shoehorn this into 3.0?
Knowing CIG, they probably could, but I don't think so.
I mean, they did it with Nox, but I think the time might be a little bit too short to get the Cyclone in there.
Yeah, because the Nox was actually pretty far along, whereas this one seems like it's still in gray box.
Yeah, they seem to have 3D models of it and everything, but it doesn't look like it's super far along.
Yeah, they did say they nailed the concept quite early on, so they maybe had a little bit more time than normal to work on the build.
They likely will try to at least see how far along they can get with it. I mean, they've shown that they can finish ground vehicles pretty fast. And if they only aim for the one variant, just the base variant, they might be able to pull it off. But I think that would probably rely on 3.0 being pushed back anymore. And I really, really hope that it's not.
I'm not sure many people are hoping for a pushback.
Agreed. I wanted to very briefly touch on my article that I wrote this past week. I wrote an article called Star Citizen Astrometrics Going Deep. Basically, this was in reply to a response that Chris Roberts had in a GameStar interview, where he basically said that they were going to launch with 5 to 10 star systems rather than the 100 before. This has been sort of partially refuted by CIG, but not really. Regardless, my point in the article was that the actual play area we are getting in even 5 to 10 star systems is much, much, much larger, even than the 100 systems that they had originally promised. Now, people have rightly brought up that it does limit some of the variety that you'll experience in the universe. You won't be able to go to a Banu system or a Xi'an system or like that. I do think that's a valid concern, but I don't know. I think you can only do as much as you can do, right? And the thing is with Star Citizen, it's in such a weird situation where they can be done, quote unquote, the game and keep it in beta for as long as they feel like. So
yeah, they could pull a Minecraft with it.
Launch it. They could launch it to the mass market in beta with 5 or 10 systems and not release it until there's 20 or 30. And yeah, totally. Just like Minecraft. Minecraft is in beta forever. So Eric, I'm not really sure.
I've got to interrupt you, I'm afraid, because Dronix has just subscribed.
Oh,
you know what that means.
Well,
where's my air horn sound effect?
David wants us to call him on Skype in BC, but I told him not to worry about it. So I think it's my turn. All right, here we go. You ready?
Thank you, Dronix.
Thank you, Dronix.
I had no idea about this.
But
Good effort.
thank you. I tried. We brought back the arm waving for people who subscribe. Thank you very much. That's awesome. Yeah, good point, Dymek. Yeah, tons and tons of people have played Warframe for many years, and it's still theoretically in beta, even though I think it came out like 6 or 7 years ago. But
Is that game that old, really? I didn't realize that.
Yes.
It is. I mean, they continually improve it, and it's fun to play and everything, but it's been out for a long time.
Wow.
Let's see here. Quick check on Wikipedia. When was it originally released? 2013. Oh, 4 years. Sorry.
Okay. That
wait.
sounds a bit more right. I was gonna say I played
But
that
still,
in high school.
It's still like almost 4.5 years ago when it released, and it's still in beta. And honestly, I could see something similar with Star Citizen in that they just. One of the things I think they wanted to refute strongly was that the universe isn't getting smaller. Those systems aren't going away; they just might not be available real soon. You know,
Yeah, they made reference to the star map and said they're all going to be there. And we know there are some planets, some systems that aren't on the star map. They've kind of hinted at that in the past. So there's actually more systems. And I think there's nothing technically, once they get to 4.0, there's nothing technically stopping them from releasing 100 planets, 100 systems with all the planets and the moons. They would just be empty.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. They want to have a quality experience. They don't want to have an elite, dangerous kind of, you go down and every planet's a barren rock. They want to have points of interest there for you to actually explore and for the planets to be worthwhile landing on. And like you say, given the vast size of these planets, it's going to take a long time to fill them up with content.
People don't. I don't mean to be. I don't mean to downplay people's concerns too much, but people don't seem to quite grasp the actual play area that exists.
Mm-hmm.
I still had tons of people going, it doesn't matter, everything will be completely explored in 5 minutes. You know, it's there will be nothing to find.
I mean, even when you're playing it, you can't quite wrap your head around it unless you fully get a top-down view of it.
It's stupidly large, and not just people were focusing on planets, and that's what my article was about. That's fine. The planet area is huge, and I explained, like, even in 3.0, it's going to be like 110 million square kilometers. Sorry, what were we going to say, Shiver?
I was just going to say, I mean, like, it's not like another MMO where you go to a different part of the world and it's like, oh, they've got mushroom houses here as opposed to straw houses or something like that. It's like Earth will be completely unique to Terra, will be completely unique to whatever else. The aim should be, it's like, this is like a whole new fucking game now that I'm on this whole new planet. Everything feels different.
It's as if you went
that's the detail that you're going for.
It's as if you're going from like Europe to the US. Like you show up and the buildings are made differently, and like the materials look different, and the people are kind of the same but look different because they grew up in a different area. Blah blah blah. So
well, you can even with that too. Like they want to very reminiscent to how Europe is for people who come from North America. They want to be able to show that Earth is older than Terra, and just like you go to Europe and you're like, okay, that building is from 1646. There was nothing in my country in 1646, you know.
Yeah, we got all the history.
And yeah, exactly. And they want to do the same thing in Star Citizen on Earth, and in some of the older systems is to show that they have been there for hundreds, thousands of years, and that people have lived there for a long time. one of the actually really interesting things about ArcCorp, and I'm curious to see how they reflect this, but ArcCorp has, I think they completely developed the entire service in like 14 years. Like it hasn't been around very long. And I think that's kind of interesting. But anyway, I hope people like my article. If you have any more comments on it, keep firing them back at me. I wasn't able to respond to everybody. I responded to lots of comments, but there were tons. But the overarching thing I got was that a lot of people liked it, but a lot of people also still have the complaint that I paid for the universe to be this large, and it should be this large regardless of what they're doing. And I personally think that's a little misguided because you're not going to get what you want at this point. You know,
it's totally different now. It's not 400 landing zones scattered across 100 systems or whatever that was. It's considerably. I mean, you can go anywhere.
Yeah,
anything.
I think once it's out and people understand like how big it is, they'll stop complaining because they'll be like, oh, well, this is. I by the time they actually do get 100 systems in the game, I will still haven't explored all 10 of the ones that are out right now. So
yeah. And so the other thing I wanted to mention is that people really don't like, especially in real life, but in the game too, people don't get how big space is. Right?
Space is big.
It's really big.
Stupidly
you may think
large.
it's a long way down to the chemist, but that's just peanuts to space.
It is kind of on CIG to make sure that there's stuff out there, but if they actually properly populated a star system, there is no way 2 million people in a game would be able to find everything very quickly, even in one star system. It's just too big. I did the calculations. I did the calculations on it.
Scaled down compared to what it would be in real life. So,
was it 1/10 scale for systems and 1/4 scale for planets? Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, say you've got two neighboring systems. You got System A here and System B here. As long as they're both implemented in the game, you don't have to take a jump drive to go there. You could take the X, however long it takes, and just travel there slowly all the way. You could run into anything whilst you're exploring that, and that could be days, weeks of travel just going from one system to the other.
There's going to be stuff that's just floating randomly in space that no one will ever find, and one of the devs would be like, they still haven't found it.
I actually calculated how big the stand system is. It's not even worthwhile telling you the number because it's just stupid. It's unimaginably large, and it's
is it more than 12?
It's more than
yes, it's more than 12.
Whoa!
But
numbers go up that high?
I can't count past my fingers and toes.
So 27.
27.
The stand system is
jinx.
I'm sorry, Nehkara, go ahead.
No, it's okay. The stand system is 4 AU. So for people who are somewhat familiar, 1 AU, an astronomical unit, is from Earth to the Sun. So even in the game, even shrunk down, it's still 4 AU from 4 AU in radius, right? So it's 8 AU watt. Basically, it's the same size as our solar system out to about the orbit of, I think, Jupiter. It's unimaginably enormous. You can't even fathom it until we actually get in the game. But I really, really don't think if they properly populate the star system with stuff to find, that it will be found quickly. This is why Chris Roberts has said that he can easily foresee people playing their entire game experience in one star system with thousands of hours of gameplay, because there's just so much. People are also complaining about trade lanes. and how trade lanes will be really stupid because you'll just go from like one planet to the next to the same planet and then back again and so on and so forth. But they do plan to have many stations in each system, and then landing zones as well, and then outposts. And also remember, all of this is orbiting as well, so trade lanes will constantly be changing because the distance between objects will be changing all the time. Anyway, we'll move off of the article. I just wanted to talk about it briefly. So next thing I wanted to talk about is they've done some improvements to Miles Eckhart in preparation for 3.0. They were giving him some additional code to support mission giving, so your reputation now matters. But the thing that I noticed, and this is probably a stupid thing, but a couple weeks ago they showed Miles Eckhart and his jacket was clipping to the table, and it's not clipping to the table anymore.
Only
because
now.
that was the last straw.
Yeah, that was
absolutely.
literally a slap in the face.
But he's looking really, really good now. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with a mission giver NPC like that. He's got I think they said between 7 and 14 missions right now, coming up for 3.0 that he can give you. And which ones he gives you depends on your reputation with him. So I'm really curious to see how that all works out. But I think it's a good test bed for them going forward. They'll need a lot of the tech that they're putting into him for future mission givers in the PU, but more importantly, in my mind, they need all that for Squadron as well.
I've got a question, like, for everyone watching. How many of you people, I love you people, plan to fuck up mission runners by pirating or just being a general nuisance? I'm genuinely curious because it's part of the game, and I want to know if there are people out there sat there going, "Oh, you got all your missions, I'm going to get your ship," something like that. That because it's interesting. That's another in that accent, rubbing your hands and everything. It's just that is gameplay. It's going to be boring for shit for a lot of people if you've just got this star fare and you're going from A to B, from A to B, and nothing happens. So, players coming in and messing this up or stealing things, messing with the economy, I want to know. That interests me.
Well, one of the things they talked about on, was it last week's ATV, was the introduction of asymmetrical missions, where one person will get a mission to go and pick up a package, and another person will get a mission to go and destroy the package or beacon or whatever it is, or kill the person. So you'll have competing. So we may not even have a choice. And at the same segment, they also talked about multiplayer missions where 5 people may get the same message to go and pick up the package, but unlike typical MMOs where there is a package for everyone gets their own special instance, there's one package, and the first person to get it gets it, and then you've got to decide, is it worth me, is my reputation worth going and attacking that person to get the package, or do I just go back to the NPC and say, hey, look, I failed, sorry, you don't pay me and I'm out some money for gas.
Well, and you could even use that as like, I'm not even going to try and do the mission. I'm going to come close enough so that when those guys get out of their ships, I just take their ship.
Yeah, you could do that too. It's a good way to find out
someone's just
where
there
ships
thinking,
are going to be.
how could I
You know where
booby-trap
someone's
the
going to be, exactly.
I agree with
Of
Miles.
course, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be an NPC.
Yeah, I agree with Miles. I'd be a horrible pirate. I'm just bad at. I mean, I love like messing with people. I love trolling people in video games, but I'd be a terrible pirate. I'd be the guy getting trolled by pirates and getting angry and like flipping tables.
Yeah, that's probably me too.
Is
Shiver
flipping
will be
tables in
pirating me.
space harder because they're nailed to the floor?
Probably.
Or is it easier because the gravity's lower?
Hazy thoughts.
Does it cancel
I haven't
out?
had one of those in a while. Oh, man. So, I also wanted to talk about CIG inadvertently creating a horror game this week. Wow. Can you queue up that GIF for me? There,
Yeah,
Nitro?
I was just looking for it. There you go.
I think this got posted everywhere within like a half an hour of ATV coming out because it was terrifying and quite a glorious bug, honestly.
Oh, that's terrible.
Without context, it's quite cool because you're just like, yeah, I wouldn't want that ship either. I'll just let someone else have it.
Yeah.
I feel like he's not. It's not even a bug. It's just that pilot is a weird alien. He's like, "Hey, you're trying to get on my ship," and he starts like flipping out to scare the guy. You know. It's glorious.
Noodle mode activate.
Yeah. It's Mr. Fantastic.
This is there you go. Mr. Fantastic's ship.
Yep.
Confirmed.
He's just trying to defend it.
I'll get you, Dr. Doom.
I want that ammo in my pistol.
Never drinking and flying again.
It's a new take on rubber bullets.
So one of the big topics this week was ship persistence and persistence in general. What did you watch? Anybody watch the persistence part of the show this week?
Yes, indeed.
What did you think of it, Sunjammer?
I thought Chad was amazing at being able to talk so fluently without a break, without a hitch about something so technical, and make it sound reasonably easy to understand. So,
yeah, I agree. It was actually pretty understandable, even though the topic is pretty esoteric. For like,
yeah, because it's all back end systems they're talking about, but yeah, the end result is you can leave something in your ship and it stays. It's a fairly simple kind of concept, but yeah, what goes into making that happen when they explained it was fairly incredible.
Absolutely.
And obviously it interacts with a lot of their base systems. So yeah, I really enjoyed that segment. I like all the technical stuff. So.
Nitro, what do you think?
I thought it was pretty cool because, like, that was one of the things that I was wondering when it was going to make it into the game. Because, yeah, ship persistence is cool, being able to call your ship and whatnot, but being able to actually put something in your ship and your ship being the way you left it, not just all your settings in your ship being the same, it's starting to feel more like what I imagined it would, which is really good.
And Shiver?
I think a lot of people are going to be very annoyed that they're going to have their repair costs suddenly skyrocket.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever had to stop and get my ship repaired because it gets blown up or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just wait and spawn a new one.
Well, let's hope we can land properly in 3.0.
We've got the bouncy suspension now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
About that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I was saying when we were talking about the bouncy suspension. Is it's like, well, it's really good they put that in there because now damage is persistence. So, you won't constantly have people just exploding when they try and land. One of the things I really wanted to mention here that I think is super important going forward, they're still talking about and playing with the idea and the hope that they're going to be able to have things that players do persist indefinitely in the game. This includes player wrecks and leaving things on planets. So if you dump some cargo somewhere, it will stay there and someone else can come and grab it. Or more to the point, what I'm really interested in is they would like to indefinitely persist things like player wrecks after battles. So you could have these huge space battles and then 3 days later, a reclaimer could come along and, the pilot's eyes go huge and he's like, oh my God, I'm rich. I think that if they can pull it off, it will be incredible to have that kind of natural feel where you can come upon a wreck and you'll be like, this was not put here by a designer. I can tell it wasn't because of the way it's crashed. Somebody just crashed here. I'm going to steal their shit. I'm going to take their stuff.
Yeah, either that or you're flying through with your friend and you're like, hey, there's my Saber wreck from the other day. That was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You know what else should persist as well, which it's a small thing, but nevertheless extremely useful, is footprints, tracks and things.
I would love if they can do it. No game has ever seemed to pull it off, but that would be really cool. Or at least until it'd be really cool if they interacted with the weather system, so that, like, when there was a sandstorm, it covered up the footprints, or if there was like a snowstorm, it covers up the footprints. But until then, it doesn't. That would be neat. And then you could have moons where there's no atmosphere, so the footprints stay forever. That would be really neat. But I really think that part could be really cool. And you could also be like, I know this area is really dangerous because look at those 74 wrecks down there on the planet.
It's the
and no footprints coming out of them.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious about that. Although, there's certain implications of it that are difficult, but I'm glad they're going to try. And what that means to me is if they try to do it, that it's likely wrecks will at least persist for quite a long time, even if they can't do them permanently. I would love for wrecks to even persist for a week. It gives you a good sense of what has happened in a game area.
I mean, they could even vary it depending on location. Like if it's near a more populated system, then it shouldn't have to last for any more than a week. But if it's on a more remote part, then they could implement it so it lasts a month or whatever, depending on how much past traffic there is.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, out on the fringes, there shouldn't be much limit on how long things can persist. So do you want to head into questions now? I don't know if there's there's definitely one more thing I wanted to talk about. We also had Happy Hour this week, which was building a star system. There were some parts of that were really cool. They did basically confirm that binary star systems are going to be a thing. Which was, I remember a very long time ago, somebody asked CIG, they're like, you have all these star systems and none of them are binary. Why? And they went, good point. And I think they've added quite a few in since then, but it's nice to see that confirmation. Although I did think it was pretty funny that Jared didn't know whether or not trinary star systems existed in real life. Spoiler alert, absolutely they do.
So with a binary system, Nehkara, as a resident space pope, do the stars orbit a point in space, or does one always orbit the other?
Both happen.
Because I saw that they've obviously, we saw the latter being done, but I'm wondering if they can also do the former.
Oh, so it's like a couple of magnets where you that are shaped like spheres, and you spin them around in a circle. It spins like that, kind of, maybe.
Kind of, yeah.
That's awesome.
So if the two stars are very large, then the gravitational center will be in between them. Right. So they'll spin around that center. But if one star is much larger than the other star will just orbit the main star. What gets really, really interesting is then you get the weird orbits of planets, and they've found that it looks like some planets actually orbit in like a figure 8 between them.
Okay.
And yeah, and I'm sure being on one of those planets would be a really weird experience.
Yeah. It's weird. It was freezing
kind
cold.
of a normal.
Yeah, it was freezing cold yesterday. Now the planet's like liquid
melting
rock right now.
Yeah, the crossover point would be bad, right in between two suns.
Yeah. They had some really interesting moments in there. It was really cool to see how they can build them so quickly. And my takeaway from it was can I please make planets for star systems? Or make star systems?
Do you want to make the planets or place the planets?
I want to make the star systems. They're gonna be
to make the star systems, yeah. Place the planets.
Yeah.
Making the planets looks hard. You need to be an artist and have skills and stuff.
I don't art very well.
You don't art very well?
I don't art at all.
No.
I wasn't born with that bone.
Did anybody see the cool new idle animations for NPCs?
Yeah, those looked really neat. I like the so those are like transition animations. I thought they were really cool. I just love all the little touches they're trying to put in to make the NPCs feel real in the game, not like, oh, that's definitely an NPC.
Yeah, like with the multiple people in full sets of armor, you couldn't tell that they were probably the same NPC underneath. They look like a squad of soldiers that were like walking into formation and whatnot. It was really cool.
Absolutely. No, I'm really looking forward to seeing what we get for NPCs in 3.0. And definitely looking forward to what we see in the future from that system, because I mean, the system they've envisioned, execute on it. Creating a living world will definitely make the Star Citizen experience. Right. So, we have some questions from last week, so I'm going to move on to those right now. And first one is from Haramus. What is CIG's current philosophy on pricing things? Clothes super cheap, ship super expensive. Honestly, I'm not really sure. I think I'm sort of reserving judgment to see what we see in 3.0 in terms of pricing, since we'll then actually be able to see what their thoughts are in that direction and actually buy things in the game.
We've got a little bit of info because they sent Pete Mackey out. I think he's in the Austin office, which makes sense. That's Pete. Yeah, to go and look at, like, you know, luxury yachts, what the price of those is, and then sort of translate that to Star Citizen. So it'd be like, you know, an £80,000 luxury yacht would probably translate to, just pulling numbers completely out of thin air, a 40,000 UEC ship. So they could say, well, the 890 jump's going to be around 40,000 UEC. Let's look at that for a base figure, and then they move around from there, maybe.
That sounds really cheap.
I mean, that's roughly.
Yeah.
Definitely way too cheap, but I see what you're going for there.
I could buy
Yeah,
4 sets of armor with
it.
that.
Pete Mackey referred to it, talking about the scale of the economy that they have to kind of take account of, because they do have really small items, you know, handguns and bullets and things like that, ammunition that's at one end of the scale, and then you have frigates and, you know, destroyers and at the other end of the scale, and it all has to make sense.
Like for commodities, I'm sure they're going to have some very, very inexpensive commodities. Like, what's like a pound of rice worth? You know, so they really have to have a lot of flexibility in terms of the scale of their economy.
Yeah, Tyler walked us up to his desk, and they were like, "Hey, this is Pete Mackey," and he turns around and he goes, "Hi, I stare at spreadsheets all day."
Price fixer, to be specific.
Yep. They showed more about the price fixer this week, actually. And that's
all
just
nicely blurred
it's
out.
just a good idea. Yeah, all nicely blurred out indeed.
But I do like the way that they're doing it. The fact that they're taking, they're trying to price a ship on everything that goes to make up the ship, and everything that goes to make up the things that make up the ship, and everything that, you know, all the raw materials that go, and that sort of thing. So they've got this kind of cascading effect, so that you can't presumably kind of game the system by taking a ship and selling it in parts for more than it was originally worth, that sort of thing. So I quite like that. That should give them at least a realistic kind of ballpark to start with, and then obviously you put an X factor on to make it luxury or whatever.
Then, I mean, I agree, and I think it also gives them really good guidance on two things. Is this ship too expensive, or is this ship just not as powerful as it should be? You know?
Yeah.
Given its price. And that gives them two ways to go. They can either make it cheaper or they can make it more powerful. And that sort of will let them do the balancing thing with the economy. There's a great question from Dynasterum. What is the first thing you will do in 3.0 which will guarantee your death?
Fly a Nox into a rock.
Anything.
log in.
Yeah.
There'll probably be
Pretty
another
much.
spawning bug where you just like you spawn and your guy just collapses as a ragdoll on the floor.
It's going to be something really stupid, like I forgot to put on the damn spacesuit, didn't I? God damn it!
I think I'm gonna forget how the landing system works, and I'm just gonna plow right into the planet
I've been playing recently,
or into the moon.
and I actually did that the most recent time I played because the automatic landing system isn't working. Because I get really lazy where I just point my ship at the landing pad and turn on automatic, and I just slowly fly towards it until the automatic landing system takes control and lands me. And automatic landing control wouldn't turn on, and it still won't, and I don't know why. And I just flew straight into the landing pad.
At some point, I want to take a ship in quantum drive in orbit around the sun and see if I can slingshot off to 1986 in
that'd be
pursuit
awesome.
of 2 humpback whales.
I was going to ask you if you'd be able to
Let
reach.
me know if that.
Does,
Let me know if that's successful.
Does that does slingshotting yourself around the sun make you go 88 miles per hour, or is it
I
faster?
think it makes you go a little bit faster.
Just a little
A
bit.
little bit faster, yeah.
Yeah.
At
All
least
right.
89 miles an hour.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a magic number. That's when the whales
But
get
it-
involved.
As they confirmed on Solid on Happy Hour, it'll depend very much on his mass. So
Next question
orbit.
is from Illuminati.
They
don't
found
answer that
us.
one. Don't answer that.
Idris or Reclaimer in 3.0. They sure have teased them lately, and even the Idris around
Well-
Crusader.
No Idris, that's for sure.
Yeah, Reclaimer
Um,
maybe.
Reclaimer, maybe. Especially since 3.0 is so late now.
Yeah, and the Reclaimer was pretty far along last time we saw it.
Yeah, I think they said they only had a couple of rooms to do, so
The exterior's done.
the interior's mostly done.
The interior's mostly done, but the problem that I see for getting into 3.0 is it's not flyable yet.
Yeah,
And it could take quite a while for tech design to that's a huge ship. Could take quite a while for them to fill that out. Keep in mind, they have never said Reclaimer is going to be in 3.0.
No,
So if it is, it'll be a surprise.
it'd be a cool surprise.
The reason we're seeing it a lot is because that's what the UK is working on right now, is the Reclaimer. So they're like, well, you want us to show off what we're doing? This is what we're doing.
Yeah. They're getting a lot of the big ships done now as well because that gives them the design ethos for every other ship. Like, was it the Constellation for RSI? Was the design ethos ship for RSI?
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the Idris is done, but we won't see it until Squadron 42 comes out.
Mhm.
They don't
I'm
wanna
thinking
spoil
that
it.
too. Yeah.
I think they've
I
hinted at that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Chris Roberts has pretty much flat out said that, or at least asked the question, would you guys want it spoiled? Because that's
No,
the
I
danger.
think they're gonna. I think at this point, unless Squadron gets super delayed, I think they'll probably save the Idris.
So, Idris confirmed for 3.0 then.
Confused as a
Yeah,
point.
Good point.
We'll hopefully get the reworked Auroras in 3.0.
It's in there now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if that was
they've added
confirmed or not.
they have added it to the schedule, and I think it's actually done now. They just basically said it's taken us so long to get 3.0 out that the reworked Aurora is done, so we're putting it in.
That and we get the Cutlass, the new Cutlass too.
The color's black. Yeah. It's man, that ship's looking nice. They did a big
Yeah.
improvement on the.
It looks so much better.
Yeah,
So-
it looks more like the original concept art that I remember, and less like a pregnant whale, which I really enjoy.
I thought this was probably known earlier, but I did get a message from David this week that that someone confirmed for him that there are beds in the new Cutlass, which I thought I already
Oh,
knew.
wow.
But anyway, so there are beds in the new Cutlass.
Is there a toilet?
There's no toilet. They took the toilet out,
Damn.
so you just
Go out
have
the window.
to.
You have to rely on your
Except-
spacesuit.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you have to rely on your spacesuit.
Open
Get
the
real
back hatch.
funky in there after a while.
go in someone else's bed.
Of your spacesuit.
No, open the back hatch of the Cutlass and just stand on the ramp while you're flying through quantum
Fair
drive. Yeah.
Man, you get pretty nervous about getting sucked down. So Haramis asks, what is your guess on playing time for all non-procedural missions in 3.0? Sunjammer.
7.
Okay. Nitro.
I have a very short attention span, so if I'm not being told to go somewhere, I probably won't be exploring at all. So, probably, for me, maybe an hour.
Shiver.
That's a good question. I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark at 3 hours.
I'm going to guess. So I'm thinking there are probably more non-procedural missions besides what Eckhart gives you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say closer to 5 or 6 hours.
I thought we were just talking about like walking around planets and stuff.
No, what we're talking
Like
about
Tesla.
is like all of the missions, like story type missions that exist in 3.0, like everything from Eckhart,
Complex.
Okay.
Kovalex, anything at Korea, and then like the ECC missions.
Yeah, I could see maybe like 6 or 7. 6 or 7 hours.
Next question
Should be
is
pretty good. I mean, that'd be...
That's a AAA campaign at the moment.
Yeah.
So we're now on our first question from this week.
Time traveling.
Do you think the new planet tech will bias gameplay more towards planetary environments than deep space? This question is from Rock and Anchor. Sunjammer?
How am I always getting first? I think it's entirely up
first.
to the player. I think it makes more of an equal playing field between the two. So, as you already mentioned, space is big. So there will be plenty to do in space. This just means that now land-based missions are equally, or the land-based environments are equally big now. So, you're going to be able to do a lot there as well. At the end of the day, it's all going to be based around points of interest or missions that have some sort of intercept with another ship or another ground unit. So if the number of points of interest is similar between the two, then you're going to end up being sort of split equally. But I think it'll come down to a lot of preference, your style. Do you want to do missions that are mainly in space, hauling cargo, intercept missions, bounty hunting, or do you want to do things that are more based on going in, exploring outposts or derelicts or whatever?
Yeah, I personally think that there's going to be a much more, like, I think the game's way more balanced now than it was going to be originally. I originally, it was basically like almost back to the freelancer days where it was like 99.9% of your time's in space and then a little bit of time on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, basically you would nip down to the land to do some shopping in your Disaba or whatever, and you would go to Area 18. There isn't really anything to do in Area 18. They might have added on another Area 18-sized landing zone or whatever, which was more explory, more, run down or whatever, and you had to go and fight some outlaws. But it was going to be very limited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whereas now...
Yeah, I'm actually glad that it's going more towards equally between space and ground, because playing the other day, I realized that I still suck at dogfighting. So I don't think that...
Me too!
Yeah, I don't think that there would be much for me to do in space. I can kill pirates really good, but you put me in team deathmatch in space, and I'm like, which button's the gas? How do I fire my gun?
Shiver, what do you think?
I just agree with the rest of the panel as well. I think they're going to be pretty much different kinds of gameplay as well, with what's been teased for land gameplay. You're not going to be able to do in space. You're not going to be able to have a 6 degree of freedom dogfight in an Ursa rover, but you could have a tank fight or something like that. You could have
That'd be awesome.
All sorts of different other things.
Tanks confirmed.
Whereas, space is just going to be, the space combat side of things or the movement side of things. It's just a slightly different beast. And I think it's good that it's going to have these options for players, because you can get burned out just playing in space all the time. You might want to go and chill out and just explore a planet, and now you can literally explore a planet.
Mm-hmm. And like the question stated, they were worried that they're focusing more on land-based stuff now. I think that's just because of the fact that the technology is really new and exciting, and they can talk about ground stuff all the time, because with planets, every planet can look different. When they put a wrecked ship on the planet, they can decorate it differently, whether it's like a hobo base or a ruined site in a swamp or whatever. It's all new and exciting and different. Whereas in space, it's like, yeah, go to that wrecked ship that's floating in space and collect something. Go check out that wrecked ship. Go kill that guy. It's like, it's still like very similar, but it's not as exciting to talk about, because it's like, we can build planets from nothing, but in space there already is nothing. So
yeah. No, I like it. I like that the balance is changing. I think it's really going to help the game. I think it'll also help spread out the player base.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of stuff to do in a lot of different places, so you're not going to have 486 people lined up to talk to Miles Eckhart.
Well, there are people who are in this game who are like, I really don't care for being a pilot. I really don't care for being a land vehicle. I'm interested in this multi-crew. I want to be a member of a crew. And it's like, that's brilliant, because there are you do these things as a big team, and it's you get a bunch of friends, get on a Connie, second star on the right, and straight on till morning. Great fun.
Yeah, that's why I plan on doing engineering, is because, like, I'll get on your ship, I'll fix stuff, I'll shoot guys if they board if I have to, I'll pilot a ship, but as long as I don't have to steer a turret or dogfight, I'm fine. And there's so many other options other than that, so.
Yeah, there's tons. Like, I think people will be really surprised as the game becomes more mature and they add more support for professions and how much there is to do that isn't just fighting, which is what a lot of people are waiting for. Honestly, I think it's going to be really, really great. I'm personally really excited for the cargo aspect of 3.0. I'm playing around with that and seeing how it works and helping them break it, because I'm sure it'll be breakable early on. So next question. From Happy Hour, looks like Solid is still in the alpha stage. There's just one full system and 2 stars. After watching many ATVs, I expected there to be more content. What do you think? What you think, can this content be filled quick?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, here's my interpretation. I actually looked at this in the video. The subset of things they were using were called under a folder called test. I actually think that they basically took almost everything out of Solid and just created like a test environment for the stream, because we know for sure that there are many, 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 many other worlds that they've worked on and stars that were not shown in that demo. And not only that, the only part of Stanton they had in there was the Crusader system, which is just Crusader, and it's 3 Moons and Delamar, which is like temporarily in 3.0 or temporarily in Stanton. I mean, I don't think it's anywhere near as early as that looked, but that's just my personal thought on it. What do you guys think?
Well, I think you've got to separate the two things out. There's Solid, which is just, it's an editor, it's a tool. It's like Excel. It's just an easy visual way of doing it. And yes, it is in early stages. I mean, I think that was their second version of it. We saw the first version a couple of weeks ago back in ATV. I noticed the one that we saw yesterday, they've already added another property to the planet. So there was a Z offset one that didn't exist on the previous version. So that is obviously still being developed as we go on. They talked about elliptical orbits, which I don't think they've implemented yet, but that is something that they're wanting to do and support. But there didn't seem to be any way to define it from what I could see in the tool. So that's still coming. So yeah, Solid is definitely in alpha, I would say, probably even. It's being developed as they go, and they're using it. As they need more functions, they'll add to it. The other thing is, which was what you were talking about, is the object containers. So those are the pre-built levels, your Stanton objects. So your moons, your planets, suns, whatever, asteroid belts, and they can be added just as and when. And you could, I guess, potentially even have like an empty one that hadn't been, that's just defined as an entity, and it's got the components that they need. There's a couple of components that they add on, entity components that define it, so then it becomes usable, I think, with Solid. So you could almost have an empty one, a placeholder, and then an artist could be working on it, and so you could build out the systems as rapidly as you want, and then just kind of add the content in as it comes online. Yeah. But I think you're quite right. I think they've got a lot more of these object containers already built and developed and available.
Keep in mind, that's what this guy does all day, every day. I don't think he's just been working on Stanton. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the Solid setup for Stanton might take a while, but it's not going to take months. It'll take maybe a couple weeks to do it really, really well.
I don't even think you would do that. I think you could do it in an afternoon. You could set up Stanton in an afternoon.
I think so too, but I'm trying to hedge against things that I don't understand.
What we were seeing in what we saw yesterday, it was a lot of back and forth. So we were actually looking at the system. If you were setting up, you wouldn't do that. You would just drag in all the objects. You would set them up in your hierarchy. You would type in all the details, the radial distances. You wouldn't even be adjusting them by hand. You would just be entering the figures from the spreadsheet, from the data that the writers created with the scientists. So you would just be adding all that data in, and you'd never look at how it appeared, because
you might look at it at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end,
but no, and he actually mentioned that briefly. He's like, if I was actually doing this for real, I would actually put everything in first, and then I would go and do other things after.
Set up your hierarchy, your parent-child hierarchy, and then you would set all the radial distances, and it'd be done, I think, very quickly. And they said that's the whole point of the tool. And then obviously you would give it over to designers or QA to go and look at the system and make sure the system was how they wanted it to be, and they might come back with feedback and say, actually, we need to change a few things around. But the things that are going to take the time are the object containers, the planets, the moons, those sort of things. Those
and stations. Even though they're making stations modular, and that work looks like it's going really well, you still have to set up the foundation of that modular system before you can really, like, outposts are looking great now, but it took them a while to get there. Yeah. And then you have a system like the truck stop, which is huge and looks amazing, and it's modular, but it's taken them some time, and it's not going to be out till 3.1.
Is truck stop, for example, is it also a procedural system, or is it just a modular building kit?
It's it's actually both. Actually, it's I think they said it's modular, but it procedurally changes the layout, I think, to sort of match the other pieces that you put together with it. Does that make sense?
I couldn't remember if it was or not.
It is partially procedural.
If it's procedural, then that obviously helps and speed things up. Modular just means that they've got all those pieces. They don't have to keep making new pieces. They can concentrate on the hero pieces that are specific to each object container. So
I just wanted to say that was a pretty good question. And I forgot to mention, that was from Project Sinus. The next question is also from Project Sinus, and it is 3.0 PU can be playable after Gamescom?
I've seen people talking about how the window for Gamescom might be closing. When is Gamescom? I keep forgetting.
It's the last week of August.
Okay.
It's already been pushed beyond Gamescom. Basically, his question is, do you think there'll be a because I was just trying to read the rest of it. It was basically, his question is, do you think there'll be a massive rage in the community if 3.0 isn't playable, like, and released by Gamescom?
Probably.
I think there'll be disappointment. I don't know if it'll be a massive rage.
I think that sorry, go ahead, Nitro.
I think the main group like us that kind of understand delays and whatnot will be kind of like, oh, that sucks, but it's it's what it is. Whereas I think the vast majority that are like, oh, 3.0, can't wait. Oh, it's delayed again. Screw this, blah, blah, blah. Flip a table.
Yeah, I actually think that, and there was a post about this on Reddit, that the weekly schedule update is probably the best thing they ever did. And I agree. I think it really helps diffuse a lot of that frustration, because way ahead of time, like we're not getting to like August 28th, and then they're like, yeah, it's not going to be out for another 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we see way ahead of time. I can see right now, September 4th is the beginning of the release window for 3.0. I don't have to think, oh, it'll be out for Gamescom, because I know it won't. You know, I can just go look, and it says right there. There's still a lot of frustration in the community right now, which I do understand. We've been a long time without a patch. But this is if you go and just take a few minutes and read what's in 3.0, it's ridiculous.
It's a game changer.
Every last tiny little bit of the entire game will be changed.
Yeah,
and then some.
Looking at ATV this week, I realized like it's not just procedural planets. It's not just planetary landings. It's not just land vehicles. It's also missions, NPCs, subsumption with ships, to where you keep cargo, you keep damage, and you can do cargo, you can sell cargo, you can trade cargo, you can steal cargo. It's like it's gonna be what we were hoping it was going to be at 2.0. I know it might sound weird, but it's going to be, there's a lot of gameplay stuff to where people can finally go, oh yeah, I'm going to go play Star Citizen because there's a mission I haven't completed yet and I've been trying to do, and your friend could be like, oh, I'll hop on and help you. Whereas right now it's like, oh, I'm going to go explore around Yale and see if I can find Bennyhenge, but that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. And what I'm hoping is that beyond all the missions and all the outposts and the wrecks and the derelicts and everything that they have in 3.0, I also hope that they do have those things they haven't told us anything about, like Bennyhenge, and they're just like, you'll just like randomly wander across an asteroid and it will have like a giant flashing exit sign on it for no reason. Why
do I have a feeling that Sunjammer has a problem with Bennyhenge? Every time it's mentioned, he like shakes his head.
Bad. That's what happens when you let an environment artist or
Was anybody else excited and kind of scared when the guy was mentioning how you can persist cargo, and the thing he used as an example is if you put a Big Benny's machine in your ship, it will stay there?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh god, don't tell them that.
Yeah, you're gonna.
With Benny.
Someone's gonna. At some point, someone's gonna collect a bunch of those, and then CIG will actually put a value on them, and they'll be rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like 4,000 Benny's machines.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, can I get on your Starfare? Sure, let me open the door, and the door opens up, and like, avalanche of Big Benny's machines.
All right. So our next question is, from Haramis. Did someone make? Okay, just a moment. Basically, the question is, with a fully fleshed out 100 star systems, and saying even if there's 10 million players, how likely is it you'll actually ever meet another person? Given the
10% chance.
Given the stupidly huge size of the universe. This is actually a good point, because again, I don't think people understand how big the universe is.
Space is big.
They will very likely it is. They will very likely have points of interest to concentrate players. However, if everyone was equally spread out across the entire play universe, you would never run across anyone at all.
Well, they already gave the example of the fact that every player at the moment could stand sort of equally spaced on the surface of a moon, and you wouldn't be able to see each other at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
That's just on one of the moons.
I did the same calculations, and I verified it, and like there's no way you would not see each other. Every single last backer, if they were in the game.
Yeah, and the size of it actually worries me a little bit, because you won't. There's potential that you won't have that sort of interaction. But we've got to remember there are 9 NPCs, and they will be doing things to actively bring us together, either in concert or in conflict.
And eventually,
that's the thing too. Is that that's almost Sorry, go ahead, Nitro.
I was just gonna say, eventually, when we have like comm systems, it's like, oh, that guy is 10 kilometers away, and I couldn't see him normally, and he's not showing up on my scanners, but he's hailing me right now, so that way he can be like, oh, hey, I'm looking for work. I'll protect your cargo for you, and that kind of stuff. Protect, yeah. I totally won't shoot you in the back when you're not looking, and you totally won't turn into a
stab him.
Well, yeah, but if you try and stab him, then he's
is he not a front stabber?
He's going to turn into a big spaghetti monster and chase you off his ship.
Nice reference. Well, someone asked the question, do you think Live 3.0 will come out before CitizenCon? No, we know it won't. That was from
before
Max
CitizenCon.
Oh, before CitizenCon. Sorry, I thought it was Gamescom.
Whoa. Okay.
Gamescom, sorry. Before CitizenCon, absolutely. That's 3 months from now. I don't think it's going to be delayed that far anymore. They only have a few tasks left.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things is they've got the whole render to texture. So they basically threw out the whole old UI, which was based on scale form. They've thrown that out, and they've done the whole thing now is render to texture. So that's really required everything to be incredible. And the opportunities that opens up, I mean, not least of all from what we've seen. But yeah, they can just use it in everything.
Yes,
it's great.
CitizenCon, what year?
You're mean.
2020.
You're mean.
2042.
Shiver, the next question is specifically for you. Shiver, what about the question box? Is there some answers after your Manchester studio visit? From Project Sinus.
Unfortunately, I could not get an official interview, so I was unable to put any answers that I may or may not have acquired onto the answer form, sadly.
Yeah, fortunately, you're NDA'd.
Yeah, when I had to sign my NDA, I read this fine print, and it literally said, if you even talk about your visit, like anything that's secret, ninjas will jump through your window and murder you.
I like that.
Really? We were told our tea would be cut off, and that was far worse.
No details at all, but we are currently working on setting up an interview with a CIG dev. And that'll be more like a formal, long-form interview. And so I'm hoping to basically pull out the question box and go, please answer these for us. So hopefully we get some updates on that. Go ahead.
Do you think technically my lunch wasn't NDA'd since it wasn't part of the tour?
Oh yeah, you didn't sign anything to go.
No,
to
you
lunch,
didn't sign
did
it.
you?
So,
well, unfortunately, I didn't sign anything the second when we went there because Shiver and I both signed it when we went for the first studio tour the year before.
Oh yeah.
So,
it was like a 99-year length or so, some indeterminate amount of time on the end.
Was there a
I think we had to like.
Was there a shifty ninja-looking character at your lunch with Aaron Roberts?
Everywhere, yeah. Miles Eckert was there as well. So
oh, that's
weird.
weird.
Wow.
He was wearing a ninja mask. It was weird.
He's good. That guy's is it Phil Mellor?
Phil Mellor,
or someone like that. He's really going to regret that because the next time after 3.0 releases, everyone's just going to go up to him if they ever meet him and say, "Look, I'm sorry, but you got any quests for me?"
Well, I think I can tell you now that he already regrets it because he's basically being used. Miles Eckert gets used for every bit of testing they do at the moment in the UK office. So, animations, missions.
Can you imagine?
Just anything. If they need a figure, any embarrassing sort of animations, it's the Phil Mellor one.
Yeah, can you imagine opening your computer, like, all right, time to work, and your computer turns on, it's just your face. Right there.
Imagine, it's like,
that guy, that asshole again, jeez.
Do you think when they first got the model in there, like he took like the dragging tool and he was like grabbing parts of the skeleton to like move his jaw around and just make weird faces with his own character? It's like a
Bit of
weird,
virtual plastic surgery.
yeah, like a weird version of making faces into a mirror.
You would.
Oh.
You would.
So
Yeah.
the next question is from our holiday, and it is, what has been said about terrain deformation? If there will be some, do you think we can expect craters and scrapes in the ground from our crashes?
That'd be cool.
Basically, what I have heard from them is, and I don't think it's been addressed in a little while, but basically, we would love to do that. It's not our focus right now. We don't know if we can do it. We'll figure it out in the future.
Well, that would require like voxel technology, and that's not really how the planets work at the moment.
Well, they were talking about it for asteroids, for like mining asteroids. They were talking about using voxel technology as a kind of takeaway. So you would sort of superimpose that over the original model, so that you then ended up with. And I guess that could work on the planetary tech as well.
It'd be like a space engineer type deal.
What you could do is swap in geometry after the crash. So almost like a... so what I'm thinking here is almost like a decal, sort of, on the surface. But you could swap in like something that looks like a crater as your sort of the dust is settling from your gigantic crash. But I don't think it's in their plans currently. I think they're probably... I'm sure somebody there has been thinking about it, but I think they're focused on other things right now.
The same system they use for the way the liquid moves and things could be applied to particles on a planet's surface. If it's, say, snow or dust, that's a possibility. But again, like you say, that would require research and development into that.
What's really cool is, out of all the things I saw in Austin that I can talk about because it's been shown, that liquid physics thing was like the coolest. Like that was one of the first things they showed us, and I was like, whoa, liquid physics.
I hope that they use that to improve the water, because the default water was pretty rough. So has anyone here played Shadow of Mordor?
No.
Yes.
So, Sunjammer, I'm going to give this one to you. What exactly is the Nemesis AI system, and how can Star Citizen profit from it, from Haramis?
I don't really know I know what the Nemesis system is. I don't really sure what the AI part of it is. But Shadow of Mordor basically has these bosses, chieftains that you can fight. You can meet them in game. Either as part of a quest or just out while you're exploring. And depending on the outcome, if you beat them, then they are basically demoted. If they kill you, then they get promoted. And there's sort of, I think, 4 ranks, might be 3 ranks, that they can progress through, and they get more powerful. They get perks as they go up. And if you want to defeat them completely, you have to kill them based on some weakness that they have. And there's all sorts of things happen. So you can also, I think, if memory serves, I haven't played it for a while, but if memory serves, you might end up having a quest where you have to pit one boss against another boss. So there might be some sort of political infighting even within the sort of chieftains, and so you can see them moving around, and every now and then they've got a screen, one of the screens on your inventory or your menu system you can go to, and you can see where all the different chieftains are, what spaces. So when you actually kill them, they leave a space, and then when you die, those spaces are refilled by other people, either coming up from just the rank and file, or moving on from they're getting promoted within until they get up to the top level. So, but I find it kind of easy to manipulate, because if you just didn't die, you could just wipe them all out, and then you just didn't have to worry about them. So, but then of course it was like absolutely painstaking when you did die and they all just suddenly refreshed, and you're like, oh.
I do actually, I see where they're going with this. They've mentioned a little bit off and on throughout the years, they really want to have, you'll have your everyday NPCs, right? Your run-of-the-mill, this guy's a trader, this guy's a miner, so on and so forth. But they want to have NPCs that have some importance, like...
the Dread Pirate Roberts.
And I think that you will. I think what they're saying is that players can have a reputation with an individual NPC, and they can even. I'm assuming that with the Nemesis system being what it is, that they may even hunt you, which I think would be a really cool way of making the universe feel more dynamic and alive. But honestly, anything to improve the AI system in the game, in any game, is good with me.
It has to be said that you would get into an encounter, you would maybe fighting the rank and file, and then one of these bosses that you might have a history with would turn up, and they would just cackle in glee or whatever, or they might just like be terrified of you, and that always added some spice. So there was wild lines that they could say, like I'm going to kill you this time or whatever, or third time's a charm.
Well, I remember talking with Eris about this at one point, and he said he was playing, and an enemy came up to him and goes, "You're a friend of so-and-so." It was like the name of one of Eris's friend's characters that he played as. He was like, "I can't beat him, so I've come to fight you." And he said that was one of the most interesting things that's ever happened in a video game, where an AI is like, "I tried to fight your friend in real life, and it didn't work out, so I've come to challenge you instead."
I think that's a really cool way of a really, really cool AI system.
As
honestly,
Ailborn said, it's given a bit of memory to the AI as well. Like he gives an example of, if you burn them, they learn how to defeat you. That's like if you do a particular tactic on the boss, it learns from that and it tries to prevent you from doing that tactic, and that will go to the Dread Pirate Roberts. So if you try to lure him into an asteroid field, and that's how you kill Dread Pirate Roberts the first, then in theory, Dread Pirate Roberts the second will be like, "Yeah, I'm not falling for that because that's how you killed me father."
Dread Pirate Roberts 2 just doesn't go near asteroid fields at all. He's scared of
it. Yeah, and it's probably a good idea if that doesn't happen when he does these demonstrations as well.
Yeah, or the younger Dread Pirate Roberts may end up with a pathological fear of asteroids. So, because that happened in the game, they would gain a weakness or they could gain a strength depending on the outcome of the fight.
An asteroid killed me, father.
Yeah, don't be going near no asteroids. They be dangerous. They be.
So I made that asteroid eat a clock so I can hear it coming.
I get that reference.
But then he just gets like a weird tick every time he hears ticking, and he gets scared and runs away.
No, he made it use a digital clock, so he doesn't hear a thing.
So
battery ran out.
There's an asteroid walking around with a Moby glass inside it, humming away to itself.
So this is gonna be a rapid fire question. What do you think you'll like more for planetary missions, the Dragonfly Nox or the Cyclone from Project Sinus? Sunjammer.
The rover.
Oh, so none of them. All right. Nitro.
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
What would you think you'll like more for planetary missions, Dragonfly Nox or Cyclone?
Planetary missions, Cyclone.
And Shiver?
Nox.
I'm personally gonna go with the rover.
I was gonna say the Nox.
That wasn't an option.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say the Nox, but it doesn't have any cargo, so.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like the
Dragonfly cargo if you just kill everyone.
So.
Next question from Haramis was: do you think open PTU at Gamescom presentation? I'm not sure if what they're asking here, if the PTU will already be open by then, or if they will open it at Gamescom.
It could be one of those situations.
I definitely don't think they'll open it at Gamescom, because that's just leading to disaster.
Yeah, they seem like, because of all the delays, that maybe in 3 weeks, I mean, I don't, about 3-4 weeks, maybe Chris Roberts could be up on stage and he's like, and tomorrow it's going out to PTU, but who knows?
Wait one.
See, I'm really curious as to what they're going to show at Gamescom, because I really have no idea.
They'll probably have another demo type, kind of like the Homestead, but they'll have like more missions, and the planet will be prettier with more wreckages and stuff like that.
I would like to see a jungle
something
world.
I was going to bring up on Relay Table actually was, Gamescom, they've really got to show us something more than just 3.0. Simple as that.
Oh, yeah.
3.0 is nice. Can't wait to play it.
Yeah.
It's kind of sick to death of just seeing you lot play it. Can you at least show me something new? Something to get me more excited. Because I'm excited. Give me some more excitement.
And I know it's usually saved for CitizenCon, but Squadron 42 Vertical Slice would be nice.
Now that it's been reconfirmed that it does still exist.
Yeah.
Even though they said it didn't exist after. Yeah, anyway.
Well, I feel like at a big event like Gamescom or CitizenCon, if they don't show Squadron 42 anything at all like they did last year, I think people might riot. It's
been almost 2 years since we saw Squadron.
Yeah.
In any reasonable form.
Yeah, and a nicer version of that demo never got uploaded to YouTube either.
Nope. So what sort of cargo do you think will be in 3.0? I know they said one box size, but what will be transportable? This is from the original Grib.
Snow globes.
Right, snow globes. Sunjammer.
No idea.
And Shiver?
Mastermates.
Oh, of course.
We made it into the game that soon? That's amazing.
I personally think all cargo will be mini Benny's machines.
Yeah.
Could happen. Or maybe just the noodle boxes.
It'll be like a 3D like a desktop 3D printer, but it's a matter fabricator and all it makes is big Bennies.
Love it.
I really kind of hope that Star Citizen has these industrial 3D printers in the future, just churning out these fabricators, but they just go.
Like, I gotta change the toner.
Yeah.
Change the ribbon.
Yeah.
Is that a 9-pin or a 24-pin fabricator?
So, this is an interesting question here. The next one is from Spaceship Training Wheels. Love the name.
Yes.
It wouldn't be the end of the world if a playable 3.0 build isn't out by Gamescom. But how much lost revenue and free publicity is at stake? Lord knows they want to be ready.
Yeah.
For Gamescom, game dev is hard, but the CIG need to start asking themselves some hard questions about their planning. All I would say about this is they have never tied releases to events for very good reason. It usually doesn't work out, and especially if you're doing alphas. I don't think there's a lot of free publicity to worry about in terms of Gamescom. If 3.0 is everything they want it to be and it's amazing and it plays really well, they will advertise for it. And people will go, holy crap, this is awesome. And they'll tell people about it and it will go viral and Twitch will go crazy and, all that good stuff will happen without them having to do anything.
Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, right now, people are like, oh, have you checked out Star Citizen? They're like, no, what can you do in it? You're like, well, you can fly around in a big open space and you can go to stations and do like 3 or 4 missions, whereas like 3.0 will come out and people are like, oh, that's a cool looking game that I can do stuff in right now, and people will want to come check it out. So
yep.
Yeah, I tried to pin Era Roberts down and say, what are you guys doing for Gamescom, but he wouldn't bite. He just smiled knowingly.
Good attempt.
Yeah, good attempt. I mean, I think we can trust that they're going to do something. They always have, because they always have that private room for the press. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have something. And I'm kind of assuming it's not going to be 3.0 related.
I agree because because of the GameStar article and the PC Gamer article. Like they already did a press showing of 3.0 for GameStar and PC Gamer. I think that ship has sailed. Whatever they're going to show at Gamescom will be different.
Yeah, PC Gamer.
Do you know what would make people go a bit nuts, and they could maybe show an early version of a Gamescom? Mining.
Yep. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Prospector is quite far along, if not done.
It's
sorry.
done. It's in 3.0.
Yep.
Which should be funny because the prospector will be in the game and there will be nothing to do with it.
Yeah, they just need to add
Same goes
some
to the
lasers.
Starfarer, though.
Yeah. I mean, if they end up squeezing in the Reclaimer too, it's going to be the same for that. the big claw probably won't even move.
Next question is, what else do you see them adding for us to do in players setup outposts besides their already 3 mentioned types, plant storage, and he forgets the third, but the third was mining.
I'm gonna make a brothel
from Donastrum. Oh, a brothel! Nice. Space brothel. Gotta love it.
Well, you're gonna sell space broth.
Yeah. It's going to be made of like the shrimp that are only
sandworms.
It's going to be sandworm broth. Yep.
Sandworm soup confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
So the next, I'm going to have to say, actually, you guys have any outposts you would like to create?
I imagine Paul will want to create a pub.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. As soon as it's possible, I'm sure.
Can you imagine him just doing all of his live streams? Like, he's not even flying around in ships anymore. It's him live streaming being a bartender in a video game, and people just walking in. And
Did you say that? I'd love that.
I would too.
If you
That'd
could
be
stream
awesome.
that from in the game, and then you get these streamers or whoever guests on, their characters come in, and he's streaming, having a chat with their characters. That sounds really good.
That sounds really cool. That's emergent gameplay right there.
So there's one last question, and it's for me, believe it or not.
Who's me?
Nehkara.
Oh, me. Okay, I got you.
This one's from Desmarius. And he's asking he's asking what's new in space, real life. Since I often do my edutainment things on here. Well, I'll do a very quick one because we got to wrap up soon. But so SpaceX and United Launch Alliance are currently not launching anything because the Eastern Range at Kennedy Space Center is undergoing maintenance, and I don't think this makes anybody at the launch companies very happy because they're like, well, we could be launching things. But they're coming back online. August 14th is the next launch from Kennedy Space Center. It is a SpaceX launch of Cargo Resupply Mission 12 for NASA.
Did Miles Eckhart send him on that mission?
Yes. Yeah, that it's one of the hidden missions in 3.0. CRS 12 to the International Space Station.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't run into any pirates.
Here's hoping. Other real space news. They believe they may have just found the first exomoon. They believe they have detected a moon around a star 4,000 light years away. They need confirmation, so they're currently originally it was the Kepler Space Telescope, which has found thousands of exoplanets that found this exomoon. They are going to use the Hubble Space Telescope to confirm, but that would be the first moon we found around another star. And there's lots more, but we're running low on time. So I'll maybe pick that up again next week, and as we get closer to the SpaceX's resumption of launching. So we have a few housekeeping things we have to do. First of all, I want to say thank you very much to Sunjammer for coming on.
Thank you.
It's great to have you on for the first time, I think.
Yep, first time. Being on standby a couple of times, but you always found someone more interesting or better looking or more knowledgeable.
There is no one more interesting than you.
Blush.
Blush, right. And I just wanted to say thank you again, Nitro, for producing this week. And Shiver, thanks for being here and all that.
Oh,
thanks for being Shiver.
So
I got the wooden spoon.
I got a rock.
On the relay side of things, Jake is going to be on the captain's table this evening. So be sure to catch that show. Does anybody know the timing for that? Because I don't know it at the moment.
I think it's like table. I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
Thank you.
I saw a tweet.
Yeah, what he
earlier.
So Jake's gonna be on there. Definitely go check that out. It's a great show. I absolutely love Paul's show. So definitely go have some fun there. That one's much longer than our show. It's like 3 hours of people talking Star Citizen whilst drunk. It's always a good time. And also, we had a Bar Citizen to bring people's attention to as well. Anybody else can pick that up? Because I'm just looking for it right now.
Yeah, I can even say it in the native language if you so wish.
Yes, you do that.
Okay. Bar Citizen! Anyway, there is a Bar Citizen in Sweden being organised by Hermes. I believe it was organised by Hermes. August 25th, 1900. Cafe Bar. Oh, shit. I've screwed myself up. Sveavägen 105. I wasn't bad. In Stockholm. Stockholm, STHLM at barcitizen.se. There's even a Facebook link.
Thank you very much, Shiver. Does anybody else have any other housekeeping updates? I'm hearing silence.
No, he's not.
All
here.
right.
Nah, he's not even watching.
What a jerk. All right. Well, next week you'll probably have David back, so you won't have to suffer through me being host. But hope it was all right, and hope everyone had a great time. Really looking forward to 3.0 coming, and I'm hoping this time next week Evocati will have their hands on it. August 3rd is currently the opening of the Evocati window. So everyone cross their fingers. But hope everyone has a great week. Check out Relay Replay, which we just recorded before this. It should be up soon, probably tomorrow, maybe Monday. And if you missed this, which I'm not sure how you would miss it since you just... Anyway, it'll be up on YouTube
I
next
have
week
one
too.
quick thing.
Go ahead.
I nearly forgot. Hermes, who organised that Bar Citizen, will actually be on Dead Air this week.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Check out Dead Air with that guy over there, the Shiver guy. I have 3 more articles that I'm looking at writing. Definitely one of them's coming up soon. I was going to do separate articles for the 3 concept sales that have come up recently, the Eclipse, the Nox, and the Cyclone. But I think I'm going to basically compile it all to one gigantic article. And so you guys don't get too tired of me talking about
That could never run from the original concept.
And the other one, I want to have another discussion about the economy. I wrote an article I really enjoyed writing several months ago about the economy when we first saw the economic map of Stanton, which was so cool when we first laid eyes on it. I'd like to talk more about the economy again, so I'll be writing about that soon too. But yeah, we're now over time, and these guys are all staring at me, wondering when I'm going to end the show so they can go do, other important things. But thank you, everybody, for watching. And I hope you all had fun. And yeah, see you all around the verse. Wait, that's a line for a different show. Anyway, let's cut it off, Nitro.
It's not our show.